How's it going, everyone? This is Jose Trujillo. I'm a fine art artist. I'm coming to you from a corner of my art studio where we package some of my awesome paintings. Today I want to talk to you about something super awesome. Starbucks. If Howard Schultz, if you ever see this, dude, hook up the Starbucks. Come on. All right, here we go. This video is about something really awesome, okay? This is if you're a collector, painter, whatever, check it out. For the longest time, I've been scratching my head about how do you know whether an artist is mature or not, right? I've been asked this question over and over, and I made a video about the 3 stages of the process of art, right? Where an artist may be. And if you haven't checked that video out, go check it out now. I talk about how, or you can just hear me again. I talk about how you can, you're in the first stage, you're learning the basics, maybe your, color theory, drawing, blah, blah. The second stage is where you are learning techniques. Now you're more advanced, you're learning. Well, now you're actually in a place where you can make a tree look like a tree, right? And the third stage is when that tree looks like a tree, but it's a strange tree. It's the third stage, okay? It's the vision of the artist. Okay, that's where the artist starts creating with vision. And this applies not just to painting, photography, anything. It's the same thing, okay? It's the vision. But it's always been kind of like a question, not kind of, but in my mind also it's been kind of like, what makes an artist an artist? How do people know when an artist has hit that you're like, oh yeah, that's an artist, Not someone who paints or someone who's learning techniques. That's an artist, right? Well, I believe it's the third stage. In my personal opinion, I believe it's the third stage. I think that it doesn't matter. You can call yourself an artist. There's no police that's going to say you can't call yourself an artist, right? And like with a doctor, right? A doctor who's in going to medical school. Well, not a doctor. A student going to medical school cannot call himself a doctor. But artists tend to do that. We do that. As soon as we get our birds, we're like, I'm an artist. But it doesn't matter. That's not what this video is about. This is about what is it that creates, or how do we distinguish where the artist is, right? What do we call that? It's been this question. People say like the paintings of the artist or the vision, right? Some people say the vision of the artist, but it's always kind of ethereal, right? In my mind, anyways. If you know of a word, please type it. Please share with the other 3 people watching this video right now. In Spanish, some of you know I'm Mexican. I was born in Guadalajara, in the state of Jalisco, where tequila comes from. Yes. And in Spanish, this is a fairly used word because believe it or not, a bunch of great artists in Mexico. But when they talk about art, of a mature artist, they don't say, oh, the artwork or because an artwork can be from any artist, right? They call it la obra. And I've always wondered, is there a word in English that can convey this? Because in Spanish it's very well conveyed. See, when a Spanish-speaking artist or Latino or Mexican in this case, like me, right? In Mexico, they this is not just in Mexico, but I'm gonna talk about Mexico because I'm Mexican. If you go to an exhibit and the artist is, has his her artwork hung or whatever, they don't refer to the art as the painting or this painting or that painting. When they talk about the artist's artwork, right? The artwork, they refer to it as la obra. But they're not, it is my belief, right, that they're not just talking about the artwork, like the art. They're talking about the vision as a whole. And And it's always kind of knocked on me, like, is there a word? How can you convey that in English? I don't know. Maybe there is, maybe there isn't. But that is one way of looking at it, right? When people say la obra del artista, right? The work of the artist, in Spanish, they're actually talking about the maturity of the vision, right? They're talking about the artist has hit a certain place where he sees things in a certain way, and the fruit is ripe, in other words. It's no longer cooking anymore. It's ready, right? It's always cooking, right? But it's ready. But you can eat it now. It's like a crock pot. There's a point where where you can eat it now and it continues to cook. Okay, if I make any sense. But in English, I haven't found that. And maybe those are the words. Maybe they're just not used in that way. But that's what I wanted to talk to you about. When is the time that you're like, oh, there's an artist, right? Look, there's in Spanish also the other word they use is maestro, right? When someone has hit a certain maturity level, they say maestro. It's sort of like it doesn't mean teacher. It's more like I think in the Chinese, kind of like sifu. It means master. It means you've hit a place, right? You're master craftsman. You hit a place where it's no longer mature. You've come to a different place. Now, this is regardless of the media the artist works in, right? It doesn't matter whether they're photographers or sculptors, painters. They hit a place, and their work is called la obra, and they're referred to as maestros. So in English, it's always, because I was raised here for the most part, right? I was born in Mexico, but for the most part, I've been raised here. And it's always kind of, I question that, right? How do you define this artist? How do you define an artist who's hit a certain level? Where do you place them? And that's why I did that video about the 3 stages, right? When an artist hits this mature level. So I believe, okay, and now comes my spiel. I believe that an artist that hits that place, it's an artist that has molded a personal vision. And in English, I don't know how you would say it. Maybe an artist who has their vision, or the vision of the artist. It doesn't matter, because it doesn't matter, right? It's a different language. We convey things differently. That doesn't matter. What does matter, I believe, is that you're able to distinguish where the artist is at. That way, if you're a collector, or if you're an artist yourself, if you're a collector, you can see, well, the artist. Because most people say, oh, I have an eye for for art. But it almost seems like, well, that eye, is it for the select few? No, it's because people follow art, right? So they develop this eye. It's not I don't think it's some God-given thing, that, oh, I have an eye for art. No, it's because you've been around it enough. Sort of like people who are trend spotters, My wife is an excellent trend spotter. She's like, oh, I don't know, this type of jeans are going to be, a hit next year, watch. And I'm like, yeah, sure. Whoa, where did that come from, right? Because she keeps an eye out. She's developed an eye for that. Anyways, I don't want to confuse you with that. But I believe that an artist, it doesn't have to be, I believe this is where many artists and art collectors, but especially artists, not art collectors, artists, get stuck. We believe that we have to do something extraordinarily different in order to have a vision. And you know what? I believe the same thing. I believed that for years and years and years. And it haunted me, and it made me miserable. Because most artists believe that they have to reinvent the wheel for some reason. I don't know why. If you just keep working, and you keep, going after it, working hard, doing your thing, learning new techniques, and just doing your thing, right? Whatever that is. Naturally, you will develop that eye. And you don't have to make pink flamingos to be mature, a mature artist. You know, you don't have your paintings all of a sudden don't have to be on glass, and you paint with light, you know, or some, I don't know, with some laser. You don't have to be like this forward futurist or ahead of your time in order to be a mature painter. Now, there's artists who do that, and they're very good at it. And there's, you know, one in a million here and there come out. Like, you know, we have the Pollock, the Van Gogh. You know, we have certain artists that are like, whoa, what happened there? You know, the history of time, something happened. You know, there was a big bang in every certain generations or whatever. You have those artists. Good. But we're not all those artists. And you may be one of those artists. I'm not saying that, you know, don't get your hopes up or whatever. But that's a job. That's a certain job. You know, that's like it's a specific job of an artist to do that, and it takes a specific person to go and create a trend, you know, or move to another direction that maybe wasn't there yet. I don't think it's everyone. What I do believe is everyone is that everybody hits a maturity level in whatever way that looks. And the reason why I'm saying this is because many artists get stuck. I certainly was there, painfully for years. Get stuck in, my stuff needs to be very different. My stuff